Hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. Ah, it's been 3 weeks. I'm Tammy Mastroberte, best-selling author of the book The Universe is Talking to You, Tap into Signs and Synchronicity to Reveal Magical Moments Every Day. And I am back. It has been 3 weeks. And they were unexpected absences. So I thought, let me come on here and share with you guys what has been going on with me. Why have I been gone for 3 weeks? A lot of stuff has been going on. Some good stuff, some not so great stuff, but we're working through it all. So anyway, I wanted to come back on here to hang out with you guys for a bit and update you. So, the last time I was on was the week before the holiday, the week before Christmas. And I had every intention of going live for my weekly spirit boost on the Thursday before Christmas Eve. But things just got really crazy, and we host, family for Christmas Eve. And so I thought, I'll just go live next week, and then I'll update everybody on what's going on. So I had every intention of doing that. So here's what happened during my holiday season and why I was not here. And from what I'm hearing, many of you had very similar holidays, or the last 2 weeks of the year is what I should say, where it was either during the Christmas holiday or after the Christmas holiday or into the new year. So what happened was, usually every Christmas day, ever since I was little, we go to my aunt's house. And this was the first year without my uncle, who passed away in April. And the Monday before Christmas, my cousin's wife tested positive for COVID. So we were like, okay, they're not coming, right? And so it was just a scramble of what are we going to do? They're not coming. I don't know. Fast forward to Christmas Eve. We have our Christmas Eve party that we do with family, and it was amazing. It was a lot of fun, and we went to sleep that night, and then my husband got up in the middle of the night with the chills and a fever. So after promptly kicking him out of the bedroom, because I was like, I definitely don't want this. It's too late, but I wound up going to his sister's house. This is positive for COVID. So Christmas Day was spent in my bedroom. Well, first I cleaned and sanitized the house. And then I just watched Hallmark movies in my bedroom by myself, because he was obviously quarantined in another room. And so that was Christmas Day. Then my cousin, so originally his wife got it. My cousin tested or wound up coming down with symptoms Christmas Day night. So then he had it. Then on that Monday, so Christmas was a Saturday. The Monday, I started with symptoms. Didn't even test myself because I didn't have a home test, and the testing centers were crazy. But I'm assuming I had what my husband had. And so on that Monday, I started with symptoms. My aunt wound up in the emergency room. And my father was suffering with pneumonia. And so we were concerned about him and his breathing and all of that. So all of this was happening at one time. And that is why I was not here for the past couple of weeks, basically, because I went from my husband having COVID to then me coming down with symptoms, all the while navigating my aunt who was in the emergency room, my father who we thought we were going to have to take to an emergency room. And now in New Jersey, that week between Christmas and New Year's, all of the hospitals in the area stopped visitors, stopped allowing people into emergency rooms, stopped it all. So my poor aunt wound up getting checked into the hospital And she's fine now, thank God, but, wind up having to have surgery and things like that. Nobody could go visit her because everything shut down in terms of, they called it like code red, apparently, I guess, because of the rise in the COVID cases. So, all of that was happening at the same time. We really didn't want my dad to go to emergency room because we were like, nobody can go with him. Like, it was just craziness. So, so all of that was happening all at once, literally, and it just kept going from there. Like, then my cousin's daughter got it, and it was, we were very lucky that we had people here on Christmas Eve. Nobody got anything besides me, obviously, because my husband had it. Nobody really got anything besides, like, mild cold symptoms, like 1 or 2 people. That was it. So, extremely grateful for that, because apparently, this new variant or whatever is very contagious. So grateful that if anybody had to get it, it was at least me and my husband. And we were very lucky. We were very, very, very lucky. It wasn't fun by any means. It was like a flu. So it was miserable, but it could have been way worse. And so very happy about that. And like I said, my cousin's whole family had it. And then my whole me and my husband, at least, my stepson, thank God, didn't have it, but I did feel terrible for him because he was supposed to come here Christmas Day to open presents and everything with us, and Christmas Day was just canceled in our house. And we celebrated it a week later, or 10 days later, whatever it was. And so that's what's been going on over here. So all of this stuff was happening at the same time. And what my family kept saying, and what I found myself saying for a while, was, oh my gosh, everything is worst holiday ever. Like, worst holiday in the books of all books, worst holiday ever. And then I started hearing from other people that I know, that I'm friends with, whose families got together on Christmas, and then everybody was testing positive. And it just seemed like it was the story, not just my story, right? But everybody's story, or a lot of people's story. And so that's sort of where we were. And we just kept saying, like, I can't believe everything is blowing up at one time. Like, what are the odds that half of my, immediate family and cousins who I consider like a brother, everybody gets COVID. So now nobody can even go. Well, my sister we called her the last man standing. She was the one who was able to go visit my dad and make sure he was okay and bring him food. And, nobody could go to the hospital for my aunt because everything was shut down, which I think is just the worst for these poor people who are in the hospital and nobody can go see them. I understand why they're doing it, but it's very difficult, on the people that are in the hospital and the families, obviously. So we just kept saying, oh my gosh. And then finally, Cindy, my family in Jersey and New York had it over Christmas too. Do you see what I'm telling you? I cannot believe how many people. I know a friend of mine who went to, spent Christmas with his family, and his whole family, including his kids, wound up getting it. And the degrees that people are getting it are all over the place. Vaccinated or not vaccinated, whatever your stance is, I promise you, in my experience, what I have seen doesn't matter. People who were vaccinated had it horrible. So it's like, it's just so random and so crazy. And so what I did is I went into that state after I was like, I can't believe all this is going on, and here I am with a fever, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my aunt and what's going on with my dad, and my husband and I are just trying to navigate this whole thing. And then my cousin was not doing well with it at all, and I went and dropped off homeopathic medication to him in the middle of my whole thing. Like, it was just, there were so many things going on. And I just remember sitting in my family room at one point by myself and thinking, like, about halfway through the virus. And I'll tell you, for me, it took about 2 weeks to start feeling normal. Again, my symptoms were not horrible, but I had like vertigo. Everything was up in my head mostly. Very low energy. And so it took like 2 weeks to start feeling normal. But about halfway through it, I just remember sitting in my family room thinking, oh my gosh, like, I'm actually blessed, because this could be worse. This could be so much worse. You hear these stories of people who are hospitalized or wind up in a hospital or whatever the story is. And so, I just had that moment in the middle of, oh my gosh, worst holiday ever, worst Christmas ever, can't believe everything is blowing up at the same time. What are the odds that the whole family is down at once, right? Not even just from COVID, but from random things. And I just had that moment of like sanity where like my higher self, like the soul creeped in and was like, Tammy, you're actually blessed. You're blessed because you're not that bad, because your husband's not that bad, because you're recovering pretty quickly from it, considering, because you're not having extreme symptoms besides the fever. And I'm just grateful that it did hit me like that, where it was just like, for a second, I was like, I'm going to stop going down into that, like, that spiral of, oh my God, this is the worst. I can't believe what's happening next. What's coming next? Because that's how it was. It was just like every day somebody else got sick or somebody else was in a hospital or like it was just so insane. And honestly, I just kept saying like, this is the craziest thing I've ever been through all at the same time. Just, for my whole family. But I really felt like I just had that moment, and that's how it comes in sometimes, it's like all of a sudden in the middle of a storm, you just have that moment of clarity where you're like, Tammy, like, this is actually, be grateful and feel blessed that you're okay and that you're not in a hospital and that that you're okay. And that, your family each day, eventually started progressing better. My aunt's out of the hospital. She's recovering. She's doing well. My father, he's almost at 100% now. And so, but you worry about older people with pneumonia. He's 79. He has COPD, the whole 9 yards. So anyway, we turned the corner, right? But it's just funny, and I'm grateful that I had that moment of, Tammy, you're blessed, and remember this. Try and remember that find the good, right? What I teach people all the time, in the midst of whatever is happening in your life, can you find something good? And it popped in, and I was like, oh, and I was just grateful for that moment of feeling blessed, because everything else was a mess. Like, stress was everywhere else. And so I still feel like everything was just getting kicked up for a reason. And so I really wanted to take off the end of the year, because I never really take off, which is my new goal for this year, is to stop doing that. But things just were crazy, and I have my new summit that just launched, which you can get the link. I'll put it in Instagram in my bio, but it's elevatedexistencesummit.com, completely free to listen to. Launched this week, 9th season. I only do it once a year from January through April, where I interview 20 top experts. They all give free gifts. They all have special offers you can get only through the summit. And it's so much fun, and I know so many people look forward to it every year. So anyway, we were launching that, and there was crazy things happening with that, and things weren't working, and it was just a mess. The last 2 weeks of the year for me were a mess. So I really didn't get to take off. So really, it's funny because a friend of mine had asked me, I guess like early in December, she's like, oh, every year I try to come up with like a word for my new year, or a focus for my new year. Do you have one? And I was like, I have no idea. I never thought about it. I have to think about it. I know what my word is now. My word for this year is self-care. Now, self-care is different to everyone. I am really navigating right now what that's going to look like for me this year, but I will tell you that one of the things it's going to look like is that I'm taking more time off. When I say taking time off, I mean not working every weekend. Even if it's, sometimes I just think I'll just work a couple hours. That's not really working. Well, yes, it is. If your brain is in it, then it's working, right? So, and the thing is, I love what I do. So it's almost like I get caught up in like, but it's not work. I love it. It's still work. It's still burning me out. So I think I got clarity around that also, in that I was like, I can't even take the time off to try and recover from this COVID because I have so many things going on. And I'm like, no. I can't do this. So for me, I'm again still navigating exactly what that self-care is going to look like. I will share it with you once I come up with it. I do know that for me, self-care means finding something that replenishes me, spending more time on things that bring me joy, that refuel my gas tank, that make me happy, and that are not around work. And it's so funny because, like I said, my work and my life just sort of blend because I love what I do. I love reading self-help books. I love, doing things with crystals, but all of that is a lot of the times work. Like I'm working on creating these malas and things like that, and I love doing it, but that's work. You know what I mean? So for me, the biggest thing is going to be coming up with a plan to incorporate more self-care into my daily and weekly life moving forward. And it's going to be difficult for me because I am a worker. And again, I love what I do. So I always feel like it's not work, but I literally have to force myself to not come in the office on a weekend, or at least take one day. My goal right now is to not come in the office on the weekends at all, or do any type of work at all if I can help it. And we'll see where that goes. I feel like that's my first step toward self-care. And maybe you resonate with this. Maybe you don't take time for yourself either. Maybe maybe it's not work that you don't take time off, but maybe you're always doing things for other people. Maybe you are always taking care of other people, friends, family members, children, spouses, whatever. And think about, like, do you schedule time in for yourself? Whatever that may be. Maybe you like to cook. Maybe you like to bake. Maybe you like to read. Maybe taking a bath and lighting some candles and listening to a meditation, refuels you. Whatever it might be. And that's what I'm working on. And I'm going to test different things out, and I'm going to see, what really, really makes me happy, what really sort of replenishes me. And I'll report back. I will report back on it. So that's sort of where I am for the year. Natalia is saying, glad you are on the mend. Can relate about your dad. My dad is 75. And he got COVID for Xmas, as well as a number of family members. Yes, everybody's back on track. Yeah, my dad didn't, knock on wood, he didn't have COVID. He had tested negative for that, but whatever he had weeks prior went into pneumonia because he has sort of compromised lungs already. So he was dealing with that pneumonia over the holiday season. But knock on wood that he didn't get COVID. And he hasn't had it as far as we know. So that's good. But yes, 75 years old, we worry about the elderly. It's just so, like I said, it's so random. It's just so random. I was just talking to a friend about it the other day, and I'm like, you just can't predict how it's going to affect you. Vaccinated, not vaccinated, young, old, in between. The stories are all over the spectrum. So you just don't know. But everybody is doing better, and things are, getting better. But I think what it brought me to was I was so burnt out. I was so exhausted. I was trying to take off, and I wasn't even able to take off. Plus all of these things, plus here I am trying to relax, right? And I have COVID. My husband has COVID. My cousin and his wife and his daughter wind up with COVID, who, by the way, we weren't even together. So these were separate cases. Not even like we got it from one another. We hadn't seen each other in like a month, okay? Then my aunt's in the ER. My father can't breathe. Like, all of these things are happening at once. And I'm like, this is not a vacation. Like, I'm not taking off. This is not taking off. This is not relaxation. So anyway, the epiphany was I am going to start taking more time off, more time for myself. And purposely doing things for self-care and that make me happy and that bring me joy, that are not connected to work, although work does bring me joy, but I'm learning that doesn't count. Just to just refuel myself and take that time and not, say, oh God, well, I wasn't able to take time off at the end of the year, so what, maybe next December, right? No. So that's where I'm at. So I'm sure many of you, again, Cindy in here was saying that her family on Facebook, also, a bunch of people wound up getting sick. And it's still going on. So just everybody take care of yourselves. We actually, as part of the Elevated Existence Summit, and again, link is in the Facebook. I'm going to put it in the Instagram bio, and I'll put it in the description in YouTube. Completely free to listen to, but we had Amy Lee McCree on Tuesday. I go live every Tuesday and Thursday, audio only, with these live interviews with people who are focused on mind, body healing, manifestation, and opening your intuition. Those are really the main topics. And so, and obviously spiritually, connecting with your higher self and all of that. So, every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, and then there's a free 48-hour replay. So it's completely free. Every speaker has a free gift, and they all have some type of a special offer that's like a discounted product or products that you can get through the summit. So Amy Lee McCree was on. She is a best-selling author, medical intuitive, and we actually talked a little bit about COVID and what she's doing to stay healthy, and she shared some things. So everybody just really, my suggestion is to just take care of yourself and whatever that means for you. But again, I was just extremely blessed and grateful to have gotten through it, and I'm okay, and my husband is okay, and my family members who had it were okay. And so, so grateful for that. It's just so funny because I was like, I made it these couple of years without getting it. My husband did have it at the beginning, I guess. Even before they knew what it was, I believe he had it like that February before everything shut down in March. And I'm hearing a lot of people saying like, oh, it finally got me. But again, grateful that it wasn't as crazy or as, dramatic as some of these cases are where people are really suffering. So anyway, I had to come on here and explain my absence and explain everything that was going on, the epiphanies that I had, and how I'm really just dedicated now to just carving out more of this self-care stuff. That's my journey for 2022, is to figure that out and take more time for me. And so I'm happy about that. So again, I'm still navigating it. It's a very new world for me. I'm a worker, you guys. And again, I love what I do, but, I will share with you, as I navigate it and figure these things out for me. Of course, I will share with you as well. And so that's it. That's what I wanted to come on here and say. I missed you guys. I missed being here. I didn't actually announce this via my email or anything like that, so many of you will probably watch this on the replay. I'll send an email out about it later, but the summit is going on, and I'm going to do an interview in a half an hour. 1 o'clock, I have Ashok Gupta, which I'm so excited about. We're talking about retraining the brain to heal yourself from a variety of chronic conditions. His product, his program, the Gupta program for brain retraining, is amazing. I have personal experience with it, so I literally stalked him to get him on the summit. So he'll be live with me at 1 o'clock today, and then again it'll be a free 48-hour replay. So you can sign up for that summit. It is free. ElevatedExistenceSummit.com. And I actually am giving away 2 free gifts just for people who sign up. You're getting a customized prayer from me and also a meditation. So, Patricia, thank you. So, yeah, you get those 2 free gifts just for signing up. And then we have so much fun on our summit. We really, really do. And again, it's free. So check that out. I'm going to go get prepped for that interview at 1 o'clock. I'm very excited to interview Ashok, and for any of you who are suffering from either chronic fatigue or multiple chemical sensitivities, IBS, anxiety, panic, chronic fatigue, Lyme disease, mast cell activation, which is what I have, a host of different things. I think you'll really like this interview with him. So sign up to listen. Again, ElevatedExistenceSummit.com. And thank you for being here with me once again, everyone. Have an amazing rest of your week and weekend. Join me in the self-care challenge. Do something that brings you joy, that replenishes your soul. this weekend, and I will report back on my journey with this as well. And thank you for being here. Bye, everyone. Sending you all love.